Duelist Sid is I Hellgear and it's Crystal Beast deck profile time. Since the recent build, I've put a lot of time in the lab working this out. Not much has changed with the deck, but I am using those hidden buffs that these guys have. So, before I count the cards, I also want to let you guys know that this is the first deck profile where I use the new thumbnail. So, let me know what you think, not just of the new thumbnail, but of this updated build of the Crystal Beast deck in the comments section below. Remember to like, sub, and bell for more Duel Monsters content, because there are more deck profiles on the way. Love these sleeves, man, but let's count the cards. To those of you who do not know, all the Crystal Beasts share the similar effect, and I'm running 2 of each Crystal Beast. The universal effect that every Crystal Beast has, let me zoom in there a little bit more so you can get a better shot at the cards here. The universal effect that every Crystal Beast has is that when they are destroyed, you can place them face up in your back row as continuous spells instead of sending them to the graveyard. Either way, they are in play for their effects. On summon, Sapphire Pegasus lets you add a Crystal Beast into the back row. You can add it from your deck, which is the more common thing. You can place it from your hand into your back row, and the rarity, which many people don't use, is you can actually recur a Crystal Beast from your graveyard and put it in your back row. Two rubies. Again, I play 2 copies for the balanced beatdown, and of course, in the event that somebody gets banished, it ruins the main play of this deck. When special summon Ruby Carbuncle special summons any of the Crystal Beasts in the back row, as long as you have a monster zone for each one. So, if you have 4 in the back row and you have the other 4 monster zones open, you can bring them all out. Very useful combo. Numbers fluctuate between decks, but I feel like 2 is the best number for them. Topaz Tiger. When this guy swings into monsters, his 1600 attack becomes 2000 at damage step, which can help you clear some nice mid-range monsters on the lower levels, or like those Link 2s. Amber Mammoth is our bodyguard. In order for your other Crystal Beasts to be targeted for an attack, they must destroy him first. 2 Amethyst Cat. She can bypass your opponent's monsters and swing directly, but she only deals half of her 1200 attack points as damage when doing so. Next up, we have 2 Emerald Tortoises. Duelists really don't like this guy, but he does have the most defense of any of the current TCG available Crystal Beasts. And when one attacks, the tortoise can switch one into defense position. Lastly, 2 Cobalt Eagles. The effect of Cobalt Eagle, where you can bounce a Crystal Beast to the top of your deck, never comes up. The main reason why duelists run 2 of this is for the use of Lightning Chidori, and spoiler alert, that is not in this extra deck. But there are other forms of extra deck monsters that can use our Cobalt colored Eagle here. Now, 2 copies of Rainbow Dragon. This is the main boss of the deck. You need 7 Crystal Beasts either on your field in either monster or spell and trap zone or graveyard to special summon this, and you need 1 of each, no doubles. It has 2 effects that cannot be activated on the turn it's special summoned. One lets you give it a 1000 attack point boost by offering up Crystal Beasts. The other which I think that one's the quick effect, and the other lets you banish crystal beasts and reset the field. The resetting of the field is only a last resort deal, so when you do reset your field, just keep in mind that everything goes into the decks for both players. In addition to the regular Rainbow Dragon, I also run a copy of the dark version of Rainbow Dragon. You need 7 dark monsters in your graveyard to special summon this card. And then you can, well, yeah, I think you banish them. Yep, you banish them. You can also banish another dark monster in your graveyard to give your Rainbow Dark Dragon 500 extra attack for the turn. There are ways to summon this, and it does come up. Yeah, we got a brick. We have a brick, but he's not too much of a brick, Neos. But hey, you know what spell's coming up. Lastly, we have Crystal Pendulums. Now, Crystal Pendulums are very useful, and at one time, I've managed to pendulum summon about 5 Crystal Beasts. I know someone in the community, when they did their Crystal Pendulum summon, pulled 6 of the 7 Crystal Beasts. I guess I'm not that skilled. Anyway, the pendulum effects for Keeper and Master are protection for your Crystal Beasts. The Keeper making it so that the first time a Crystal Beast or Crystal Beast card or Ultimate Crystal Monster will be destroyed by battle or card effect, it is not. And Master lets you make it so that your Crystal Beast cards and Ultimate Crystal Monsters cannot be targeted by card effects. Keeper's Monster effect acts as an honest Neos for your Crystal Beast, doubling their attack and defense, but the Crystal Beast is destroyed at the end of the damage step, or as I like to call it, after it's been boosted, it breaks. Master can be tributed after it's summoned as a universal rota for either Crystal Beast monsters, Ultimate Crystal monsters, or Crystal Spell and Trap. You don't always use the tribute for your universal rota, but there are those few times where it does come up. Spell game, and you know when we do these wonderful Crystal Beasts, we do the field spell first. And the field spell I'm running, 2 copies of Advanced Dark. I do have Rainbow Ruins, folks, in the side deck, but I use Advanced Dark as a more tactical version of the Crystal Beasts. It has 3 effects, and I'm going to talk about them in order of not only ascending order, but order of importance. Effect number 3, it makes all Crystal Beasts dark. This is the field spell that makes your Rainbow Dark Dragon live. So that's one of the things it does. The second effect is, if your Crystal Beast battles and you would take damage, you can Foolish Burial a Crystal Beast to reduce the damage to 0. And that line of defense is actually really, really good. And of course, when that happens, it is not once per turn. More importantly, if your Ultimate Crystal monsters battle your opponent's monsters, the attack targets has their effects negated for the battle phase. A perfect example of that is, again, with our Rainbow Dragon boys, including the fusion. So let's just say you pull out the Rainbow Dragon, right? And you're going to swing at Thunder Dragon Titan. Now, before Titan gets hit, the Thunder Dragon Duelist pitches Matrix to give it 500 extra attack, because it's what, 32 something? Titan's effect, where it would normally blast the card on the field like the dragon, is negated. So even though Matrix boosts up Titan, it still dies to the Rainbow Dragon thanks to this field spell. Very useful field spell. I hope you guys give it a shot one of these days. Next up is perhaps one of the best spells in the deck, I run 2 copies of Rainbow Bridge. This is literally our crystal spell and trap card Rhoda. You can Rhoda any crystal spell or trap. Fun fact, the original printing gave the exception to 2 cards. Violet Crystal, which was the old school equip spell for zombies, and the trap card Crystal Counter, which as of Legendary Duelist Season 1 has been errated to Counter Gem. Keep that in mind, folks. And of course, Rainbow Bridge is not once per turn. Not like Crystal Bond, however. Crystal Bond is our Oat. Remember, folks, Oat stands for 1 activation a turn. It lets you take 2 crystal beasts with different names. 2 crystal beasts for different names from your deck. One goes to your hand, the other goes face up in the back row as a continuous spell. So when you do play this, it's mostly for your setup of the back row. And the fact that this card was reprinted in Legendary Duelist Season 1 makes it a lot more affordable for everyone to obtain. Another card which I originally ran in my side deck but now main is Crystal Tree. It is also set up and works well with the aforementioned Crystal Bond. When a crystal beast is placed into the back row face up, it gains 1 counter. So if you have Tree up and then you play Bond, the crystal beast you put into the back row, you just put a counter right on top of this. You can send Crystal Tree to the graveyard, and for every counter it had on it, you can take a crystal beast from your deck and put in your back row as a face-up continuous spell. More setup, 2 copies of Crystal Blessing. This lets you recur up to 2 crystals in your graveyard into your back row as face-up continuous spells. The setup that you guys have for this deck is amazing. And while you're grabbing so many resources either from the deck or the graveyard, you don't really need draw spells for the Crystal Beast deck. That's something I found out rather interestingly. Next up, I have 1 Crystal Promise and 2 Crystal Beacon. The ratios on these can be interchangeable. Some people run 2 Promise and 1 Beacon. I run it the other way around. They require crystal beasts in your back row for special summoning. Promise acts like a monster reborn. And as you can see with it showing the ruby, that's mainly the crystal beast in your back row you're special summoning to your field. Now if you have 2 or more crystal beasts into your back row, Beacon lets you Stratos a crystal beast Stratos a crystal beast from your deck. More times than not you're using Beacon to pull ruby from the deck. It's the main reason why I don't run 3 copies of Ruby Carbuncle. You're free to adjust those ratios to how you see fit, player preference and all. I run 1 Crystal Abundance. Every duelist knows about the Abundance OTK. And you need 4 crystal beasts in your back row to do it. You send every card on the field to the graveyard, and for every card sent by your opponent, you're special summoning a crystal beast from the graveyard. It's the main reason why we run 1 copy of this, as multiple copies for Abundance Turbo are bricky. Some extra support for this deck. First and foremost, we know what these cards do. We know about Monster Reborn and Called by the Grave. We know how these cards work. Melody of the Awakening Dragon is essentially a 1-card discard for cost to Rhoda your Rainbow Dragons from the deck. And you can Rhoda up to 2 of them. So you discard per cost and you can get any of your Rainbow Dragons off of it, because they meet the requirement of 3,000 attack or more and 2,500 defense or less. Next up is the Fusion engine. We have one Neos Fusion, one Future Fusion, and one Ultimate Crystal Magic. You guys already saw Elemental Hero Neos. Neos Fusion can use that now because of Rainbow Neos' card database errata. Yes, Rainbow Neos has its card database errata, which Konami really needs to release the errated version of the card at some point in time. Future Fusion lets you send fusion materials from your deck to the graveyard, and you fusion summon 3 standby phases later after you activate this card. Spoiler alert, you won't be waiting 3 turns. Now, often I compare Future Fusion with Ultimate Crystal Magic, as they do pretty much the same thing. The only difference with the fusion is that for Ultimate Crystal Magic, one of your crystal beasts has to fall in battle. This lets you send 7 crystal beasts with different names from your field, hand, or deck to the graveyard, and then you automatically fusion summon the boss of the extra deck. You can even banish this card from your graveyard and place as many crystal beasts in your back row as possible. So in a form, it's a low rent version of the special summoning effect of a Crystal Abundance. One Crystal Conclave. I run this as spot removal, and it has 2 effects that you cannot use in the same chain. If crystal beasts you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can Stratos a crystal beast from your deck. Or you can send this to the graveyard and bounce 1 crystal beast card you control and a card on the field to the hand. This is one of the ways you can get rid of problematic cards. I run 1 Crystal Raigeki, and I run this simply as an out to Mystic Mine. Too many Crystal Beast duelists I've seen get hit with Mystic Mine and they have no outs to run this. But with this, you simply offer a crystal in your back row, blast a card on the field. That card could be at the aforementioned Mystic Mine. It could be a very strong monster that you have no other ways to out. It doesn't matter what card you blast off of your cost of a crystal in your back row, but you can use it for that way. The last card in the main deck is this Sweet Sweet Spice that I love so much. And I should have another card in here. Where did I put it? There it is. Okay, there's one more card after this one. But this is some really sweet spice, and it's called Tri-Brigade Revolt. That's right, Tri-Brigade. Emerald Tortoise and Ruby Carbuncle are non-beast variant crystal beasts. So, with the exception of Zenith Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon, which hopefully hits the TCG, and the 2 crystal beasts I just mentioned, every other crystal beast is a beast variant. Cobalt Eagle being a winged beast. And the soul charge from the graveyard to link summon into Crystal Beast Link monsters is a beautiful thing. And now Rainbow Gravity. This card got errated in Legendary Duelist Season 1. So, if you have 7 crystal beasts with different names in play, whether it be on field, in either monster or back row zone, or in your graveyard, you can do 2 things with Rainbow Dragon and Rainbow Dark Dragon. You can either special summon them from the deck, ignoring summoning conditions, or revive them from your graveyard, ignoring summoning conditions. But that text was changed to an Ultimate Crystal Monster, and that's a very important thing. Now let's get into the extra deck, folks. Starting it off with 2 copies of the upgraded Rainbow Dragon. Remember, all Rainbow Dragons are considered Ultimate Crystal Monsters. And it needs 7 Crystal Beasts. It doesn't matter which 7 Crystal Beasts you have to fusion summon this card. Unlike the original Rainbow Dragon, you can activate both of its effects this turn. Its turn. You can banish a Crystal Beast to boost its attack for the turn by the attack of said Crystal Beast, or, like the original Rainbow Dragon, it can reset the field. However, Over Dragon's reset is a quickie. And if it does fall, and you've got the Crystal Beast in your graveyard, Rainbow Gravity can revive Over Dragon from your graveyard, granted you properly summoned it. The other boss of the deck, Rainbow Neos. Now, this is important for Neos Fusion. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Card database has errated the fusion materials so that it should say, and it hasn't been done on the cards yet, but the errated materials are Elemental Hero Neos and one Ultimate Crystal Monster. So that means it can use the Rainbow Dragon from your main deck, the Rainbow Dark Dragon for your main deck, and even Rainbow Over Dragon in your extra deck can be used with Neos, as it is an Ultimate Crystal Monster. Remember though, you won't be able to special summon after you use Rainbow Neos. It has 3 effects that you can choose one of once per turn. Alright. You can either shuffle your opponent's monsters into their deck after offering up a monster. You can offer up a continuous spell in your back row to shuffle your opponent's back row into the deck, or you can send a card off the top of your deck to shuffle your opponent's graveyard into their deck. Very useful 4500 beater, and I've been able to pull this out before I use another card in the extra deck. This card in my extra deck is my critique to every Crystal Beast duelist who thinks that Crystal Beasts are rank 4 spam. Well, this rank 3 is a very useful card in the deck, and that's Phantom Knight's Breaksword. Do you know how good it is for PK Breaksword to offer a Crystal Beast in your back row? To blast the card on the field so it doesn't have to sacrifice itself? That is some wonderful stuff right there. It is. Give it a try sometime. Dark Rebellion Exceeds Dragon, just to steal half of a special summon monster's attack points to help us swing over things. 1 Exciton Knight to blow boards. This is our board breaker, folks. And it's so good at what he does. Now, I use Heartland Draco over Baguska the Terribly Tired Tapir. While you control a spell, Heartland Draco cannot be targeted for attacks. You can even detach a material from this card. It'll be the only card you control that attacks, but it can attack directly. And at 2000 attack, that's literally 50% damage over the course of 2 turns to your opponents. Number 101. This is my out to Infinitrack Mega Clops. If your opponent special summons a monster in attack position, you give up 2 overlay units. Anime terms. Steal the monster to become its own overlay unit. And while it has an overlay unit, if it would be destroyed by battle, you can detach to keep it around. I've been working this deck before I found my Verte to get Rainbow Neos. But with Verte in the extra deck, pulling Rainbow Neos just makes that play much more consistent. Small Nightmare package with Phoenix and Unicorn. I have to make a note to buy Nightmare Cerberus. But yeah, we all know Phoenix hits the back row and Unicorn bounces monsters. I play a copy of Saryuja just to adjust my hand. And Saryuja does come up. And oddly enough, this deck can play through Nibiru very efficiently. So, remember Tri-Brigade Revolt? Well, the last 3 Link monsters work with Tri-Brigade Revolt. And that's 1 Pharyngeat, 1 Rugal the Silver Sheller, and 1 Shireg the Ominous Omen. You won't believe just how good it is to soul charge your beasts with Revolt and to go into any of these 3. The extra draw that Pharyngeat the Barren Blossom gives you is nice, and if you have multiple versions of your beasts, Rugal the Silver Sheller can really do a nice attack nerfing for the turn. And as you guys already know, Shireg banishes a card on the field on special summon, or if one of your beast variants are summoned to your field. That can get around a little Link 6 in the Adagnister deck that is running rampant on tops. But that's my Crystal Beast deck profile, you guys. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think again in the comment section below of the deck and the new thumbnails. More deck profiles are on the way, so like, sub, and bell. But for now, I take my cards to the box because I'm done. Bye-bye, everybody.